Right, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages. Right, so just to confirm, right, because I didn't really show you me making it, but I'll show you me tasting it. I've already tasted a tiny bit because if it was absolutely incredibly and purely disgusting, I wouldn't waste your time. But anyhow, so, what I did is, yesterday, just to give you a backstory so you can really know the meat and two veggie, what happened, went into B&M in Broxburn, West Lothian, Scotland, purchased what I thought was these wee brownie bars about that big, but it was a brownie mix, but it was only 75 pence, and I thought, oh, that'll be good to try. So, this morning, got an egg, got the same amount of butter, but a wee tiny bit more because when butter melts, it will be less volume. So I done that, and then when I done that, mixed in the butter and the egg until it was fully cooperated and very soft. But I had to melt the butter a wee bit. And then, done that, got a bit of the brownie mix, sprinkled it over, mixed it in until it was very, very well incorporated and smooth, then done it again, mix, done it again, mix, until the full entire mix was completely incorporated in and there was no of the brownie mix left. Sprinkled a wee bit of salt on top of it, tiny, tiny, tiny bit of smoked paprika, because heat and chili works well with chocolate and salt enhances chocolate flavour, so I did that. And then when I put the brownie mix into the tin foil, I put two caramel chocolate bars like there and there, and I cooked it in the air fryer for exactly 20, oh god, I think it was 26 minutes or 28 minutes, and I left it to cool down for about 35 minutes because if it is just slightly undercooked when it's cooked, or when the timer goes off, the residual heat will still keep on cooking it, and then by the time it cools down completely and it's ready to eat, it'll be perfect. Because basically, and in essence, if you slightly undercook something, right, so that it's just undercooked and no quite ready or safe to eat, by the time it cools down and goes to a temperature where you can eat it, it'll be cooked. Aye. So residual heat. If something say 70 degrees and then 3 minutes later it can go from 70 degrees to 78 because of the residual heat. Aye, it's... Wait, how can I explain it? Wait, how can I explain it? Well, heat gets into the middle of something, and then the heat inside it stays in it, and then the steam goes throughout the thing and keeps it hot. So that's what I mean. Right, but anyhow, so if I can show you properly. Oh my god, aye, that's the caramel chocolate bar that caramelised at the bottom. If anything, I would say I wish I cooked it for at least 1 minute longer. Because the bottom is a tiny, tiny little bit softer than I thought, and the top could just be slightly more crunchier. It's more like a cake than a brownie. It's just slightly all the way around the edges and the bottom, just slightly too doughy and no crispy like one that you'd get in a supermarket. But it's a lot less heavier and stodgier than one you can get in a supermarket. Oh, God, it crumbles. Oh, 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 oh. I would maybe say right in the middle with the thickest part, it's a little bit too doughy. I would definitely say that it's cooked, but if I put it in for at least 1 or 2 minutes longer, the top would be slightly crispier. That's the only number one thing that is disappointing about it, is the top isn't as crispy as I thought it would be. It was maybe because when it was cooked, I've stabbed it a few times and put a wee bit of like the residual chocolate on top, because the bowl had wee bits of chocolate in it, and I just put a tiny little bit of water so I could get all the chocolate off the bowl, and then I poured it on top. So I wish I probably never did that, and it wouldn't have but it was good. Here goes, you filthy animals. Wow. But it definitely is more like a cake than it is a brownie, because the bottom is a lot softer than I thought it would be. For some reason you can't taste the caramel. And you can't even taste a wee bit of the smoked paprika that I put in it. And I only went like that with when I done the butter and the egg, I just went like that and sprinkled a wee bit over it, like a smattering, because I didn't want it to overpower anything. But I really did think the salt would have helped it. I mean, it tastes like a normal everyday brownie. The aftertaste is really nice. Every time I go, I can taste the brownie in my mouth. That is stunning, man. It is slightly like lighter than a brownie you can get in a supermarket. I'm very pleased with that. I really did not expect it to be anywhere near as good as that. I mean, next time I could just amp it up to at least 5% more by letting it maybe cool down a lot longer, and making sure the top's a wee bit more crispier for a contrasty crunch and soft in the middle. But considering what I thought it would be like, it's absolutely incredibly stunning. I mean, I'm just so surprised that it's I'm just so surprised about the taste, and oh, pardon me, how light it is. Oh, pardon me, for God's sake, stop it! Anyhow, it's just the thickest parts are a tiny little bit too doughy, but apart from that, it's nice. But eating quite a lot of it would be too stodgy. Right, anyhow, oh my God, that bit was stunning. That has really worked, but definitely 110%. If I'd done that for exactly 30 minutes in the air fryer, it would have been slightly overcooked, so I'm so glad. It was either 25 minutes or 28 minutes I'd done it for, and then I let it cool down for about 35 minutes. So overall, it was so easy. One egg, same amount of butter, the mix, wee bit of caramel bar, tiny little bit of salt, tiny little bit of smoked paprika, in the air fryer for 28 minutes, let it cool down for 35 minutes, and Bob's your mother's brother. One of the easiest recipes ever, and if it's that easy to do it, then every time I make one, I'm going to just slightly alterate the recipe and try and maybe put chili flakes into the next time, or uh, a different caramel bar, or a different type of salt, or even just after it's cooked, maybe a wee bit of honey on the top, or white chocolate. Aye, so I can play around with the recipe, but the basic simple recipe I'll do, and I'll add my own stamp onto it. But anyhow, I need to go, but for legal reasons I won't get into it all, but you know what I'm saying, even though I'm not saying it. But anyhow, that is a basic, fundamental recipe of brownies. 1 egg, same amount of butter, and then probably about that much a brownie mix. Right, anyway, I need to go because I didn't want to do anything, so untoward. Right, anyway, so that's it. Basically, and in essence, I'm just so shocked. I really thought that was going to be an absolute disaster. Right, anyhow, tatty bye, because I'm a filthy animal.